there is an hurricane by the name of Dorian that is now strengthening in the Atlantic Ocean and is about to hit the state of Florida as we are speaking right now. Now, what I find very interesting about this hurricane was formed around the same time Greta Thunberg was making landfall to the United States of America, bringing her protests to the U.S. over climate change, or so-called climate change. Notice with me on the screen what this says here. It says here, state of emergency declared for all 67 Florida counties ahead of Hurricane Dorian. I am praying for all of those who are in the path of this monster that is strengthening now. The latest news says that this is now a Category 4 and it might hit Florida even with a Category 5. I am praying for everyone on the path of this monster, and I'm praying that people will take heed and even evacuate. But at the same time, I know what they are going to say about this, especially in light of what is transpiring right now and will transpire next month. Speaking of the global climate strike, the UN climate summit that's coming. And again, we can hear, if we have the eye salve, we can hear the rumbling of the Roman army. We can see, we can hear the abomination of desolation taking place. We can feel the Sunday law is right around the corner. Notice what the next article tells us here. This is from The Guardian. Speaking of Greta Thunberg, August 29th, 2019. Welcome to the US, Greta. With your help, we can save the planet and ourselves. Apparently, this is telling us that Greta Thunberg was sent here to save the planet. Now, let me show you this picture once again. Back to the screen. Now, this is the same picture we just looked at here from The Guardian. Now, pay attention carefully to this picture. Remember what the headline says. It says, welcome to the US, Greta. With your help, we can save the planet and ourselves. And this picture shows Greta Thunberg on her sailboat coming to America, coming from the east to the west to save the planet. And you could see the debris, the problems in the water and all of these things. So again, what we want to focus on here is the fact that she's coming from the east to the west. This is a counterfeit because the Bible tells us good news comes from the east. For example, the Magi came from the east to the west to announce or to seek for the one who was born King of the Jews. And also, the Bible tells us the three angels flying in the midst of heaven came from the east with the everlasting gospel to preach on the earth. Also, the people of God, as they are going and entering the sanctuary, they are coming from the east to west. Again, let's make one more application here about coming from east to west. Notice with me on the screen what this says here. This is from Matthew chapter 24, verse 27. Jesus says, for as the lightning cometh out of the east, shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So again, as Greta Thunberg is coming from the east, going to the west, this is a counterfeit. This is a deception. This is a false revival. This is counteracting the coming of Jesus. Just like when we can see the lightning flashing from the east to the west, Jesus says we can compare this with his second coming. He will come from the east. Again, brothers and sisters, what is taking place right now is not a small matter. This is very serious. This is the abomination of desolation? Again, she's here representing the Pope of Rome. Keep in mind as well, the Pope of Rome, Vatican City, is called Babylon in the Bible. And remember in the story of King Zedekiah, remember the Babylonian came from the east. It was a Babylonian that came from the east and destroy Babylon or destroy Jerusalem. Now notice again, back to this headline again, as we looked at last time from the Independent, August 28th, 2019, Greta Thunberg arrives in New York after 15 days at sea. This is a fight across waters and distance. And the next one tells us here from The Guardian, August 28th, 2019, Greta Thunberg says, let's do it now, as she crosses Atlantic and calls for urgent climate action. Notice with me, brothers and sisters, this is the Sunday Law movement that Sister White, through the inspiration of God, had written down for us to look for in these last days. How the legislators will yield to this popular demand to keep their position. Notice on the screen what Spirit of Prophecy tells us here. From Great Controversy 592, as the Sabbath has become the special point of controversy throughout Christendom, and religious and secular authorities have combined to enforce the observance of the Sunday, the persistent refusal of a small minority to yield to the what again? The popular demand will make them objects of universal execration. It will be urged that the few who stand in opposition to an institution of the church and a law of the state ought not to be tolerated, that it is better for them to suffer than for whole nations to be thrown into confusion and lawlessness. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the fulfillment of this protest these young people have started with their leader, Greta Thunberg. These young people will bring about persecution against God's people. Next article here, notice carefully, from Common Dreams, August 29th, 2019. Calling for end of war against nature, Greta Thunberg's arrival in U.S. brings what? Swell of attention to global climate strike. Something that's really common among young people is we just aren't given that platform. Now, emphasis on the word now. Now, Greta Thunberg and millions of other kids are showing that we don't need it handed to us. We can fight for the platform. This is young people now rebelling against the adults. What does that remind you? Lucifer rebelling in heaven. God was the creator. God was the one who created Lucifer. But he started a rebellion in heaven, and he led 1/3 of the angels into this rebellion. This is what's happening here. Young people rebelling, disrespecting adults. Notice the next article here with me. From Gizmodo, August 30th, 2019. Headline says, notice carefully, Greta Thunberg staged her first strike on American soil. Let's pause here for a moment. Now, Greta Thunberg is from Sweden. She's from Sweden. Now, why is Greta Thunberg, a 16-year-old, coming to the U.S. to start a protest? Now, somebody tells me, if this is legal, can a foreigner come here for the sole purpose to start a protest against the government of the United States of America, who has made a stand against climate change? Can you do that when it comes to the immigration laws? Can somebody please enlighten me about this? That's the thought that came to my mind. Yet, this is taking place in New York City at the moment. Notice the next article here from The Guardian. It says, hundreds of young people join who again? Greta Thunberg in climate protests outside UN. Watch this video here.
Stop denying across the world and across the country are coming together.
The climate crisis should not have to be put on my generation's shoulders to fight.
Yeah.
This should have been done by world leaders and people in power. They should have chose our future over money. Climate change is already affecting millions of lives. I don't understand why there are world leaders that are not doing anything.
Sea levels are rising, and so are we. Sea levels are rising, and so are we. No more coal, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil.
Again, as you just watched in the video, these young people are starting to stand up here in the United States of America with their leader, again, this foreigner, Greta Thunberg. Notice the next article. Headline says, Swedish teen climate activist takes school strike to gates of where? United Nations. Swedish teenage activist Greta Thunberg took her weekly campaign for greater action on climate change to the gates of the United Nations on Friday, urging everyone who cares about our future to join her when world leaders gather in New York next month. Other young protesters supported them with signs that read, "Help, my home is on fire. If you won't act like adults, we will, and science and not silence." Their chants included, "We are unstoppable. A better world is possible. And sea levels are rising." And what else? "And so are we." Do you see once again that the book of Isaiah, what it says about young people rule in these last days? Do you see the application for us in these last days? Do you see what's happening? It was a young person that caused the head of John the Baptist to be decapitated. This is where again we are heading. Notice carefully with me. It goes on to say, same article goes on to say, wearing t-shirts that read, what is it? "In Greta we trust." Let's pause. You see how she, again, as we covered last time, she's being worshipped here. It's no longer in God we trust. It's in Greta we trust. Now keep in mind, Greta is an ambassador for the papacy. In Greta we trust is the same thing as saying in the papacy, Laudato Si, we trust, which calls for Sunday sacredness. Back to the screen. Wearing t-shirts that read, "In Greta we trust." New York students Bianca Pitcher, age 11, and Lila Sabag, age 10, said they had one message for world leaders. What is that? Act now. Thunberg said, everyone who cares about our future should do what? Should join and strike on 20th and 27th of September. Right now, they are just warming things up, and it will intensify. The popular demand will intensify. There will be millions upon millions striking about the climate worldwide by September 20th. A Sunday law is on the horizon, brothers and sisters. Notice, back to the screen. Next article here from NBC News, August 30th, 2019. Climate change activist Greta Thunberg meets with United Nations members. Thunberg told the UN General Assembly President that the upcoming summit will be the what? The breaking point, and all eyes will be on the UN and member states. Watch this now.
No more coal, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil. Keep the carbon in the soil.
Let me put this up there. Sir, back up a bit. Back up a bit.
Yeah, I think this UN summit needs to be some kind of breaking point, tipping point, where people start to realize what is actually going on. And so we have high expectations in you two and all member states to deliver. And we are going to try to do our part to make sure that they have all eyes on them and they have really the pressure on them, so they cannot continue to ignore it.
Stop denying the earth is dying! Stop denying the earth is dying!
Notice carefully with me, brothers and sisters. As I asked the question a moment ago, who is Greta Thunberg? Now she's crossing the ocean, coming to the United States of America with, once again, emphasis, the intention of protesting against the government of the United States of America, against Donald Trump. Is that possible? Well, when the papacy sends you, you can do anything in this world. This is why the Bible tells us in the book of Revelation chapter 13, verse 4, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And who is the beast there? That's the papacy. Who is able to make war with him? What can the papacy send Greta Thunberg here? Can you stop her from crossing the ocean on her sailboat and to come here for the sole purpose one more time to start a protest against the government of the United States of America because of their stand on climate change? As I mentioned a moment ago, the purpose of these young people to strike, to walk out of school, to protest against the climate will bring about a persecution against God's people. And as again, we read that the legislators will yield to the popular demand, not only legislate Sunday, but also to violate the conscience, to enforce religious laws, and to bring about death penalty as it was in the Dark Ages. Notice carefully what Spirit of Prophecy tells us here on the screen from Great Controversy 592. Political corruption is destroying love of justice and regard for truth. And even in free America, rulers and legislators, in order to secure public favor, will yield to what, again, to the popular demand for a law enforcing Sunday observance. Liberty of conscience, which has cost so great a sacrifice, will no longer be respected. In the soon coming conflict, we shall see exemplified the prophet's words. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's Revelation 12:17. And this soon coming conflict is upon us right now. As Greta Thunberg said to the United Nations representative, this is the tipping point. There's no turning back, brothers and sisters. But the Bible tells us at this time, we as Seventh-day Adventists, as the remnant of the seed of the woman, we have a mission. This is the reason why God is holding back the winds of strife. What's that mission? To preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, to give the loud cried message at this time, the final warnings at this time, the three angels' messages at this time. Notice with me carefully as I'm about to read for you Revelation chapter 7 verses 1, 2, and 3. Remember what I said in the beginning. Greta Thunberg is being used as a counterfeit Messiah coming from the east to west. But notice in this passage we're about to read the expression again from the east. We're going to find that. Notice carefully what it says here on the screen. From Revelation chapter 7 verses 1 through 3. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth. And the wind should not blow, and the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Why? And I saw another angel ascending from where again? From the east. Let's pause. So here is the expression from the east again. And what will we find? What is now coming from the east? Remember, the Magi came from the east with the good news. Where is he who is born King of the Jews? And the people of God, as they are entering the sanctuary to bring about their offering, to get rid of sin in their lives, they come from the east to west. And also, as we looked at the three angels flying in the midst of heaven, they are coming from the east with the good news. Now, in this passage here from Revelation chapter 7, we find also a picture of an angel coming from the east as God is commanding the other angels to hold back the winds of strife. Notice carefully, verse 2 again. And I saw another angel ascending from where? The east. What does he have? Having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. What is the reason why this angel is coming from the east? What does he have? The seal of God. We want this, brothers and sisters. The seal of God comes from the east. Christ himself will be coming from the east, as he said in the book of Matthew. We are nearing home. God needs us to engage. It's time to do aggressive evangelism however we can do it. Whether if it's supporting the work of God financially, or going out door to door, passing out books, making a phone calls. However God impresses you, we need to respond to the voice of God and proclaim the message with a loud voice. May God give us boldness and strength in these last days to finish the work that he started in us, but to finish the work that he has assigned us, that he has given us to do. And that is the proclamation of the first, second, and the third angel's message. God bless.